this will be vanquished. Because the Hind isn't that bad of a weapon. Let's be honest here. It could be much worse. Do wish I'd gone for radiation though. This didn't quite go to plan, but... Oh! No! Vanquish. No convert. That nearly went wrong for the second time. First off, I wasn't meant to take him out there. I'd figured out the Requiem. I actually used him as a great experience for Kuva forming, and everything went terribly wrong because I wasn't supposed to be converting him there. It just, for some reason, double-clicked. So I ended up doing the last Requiem twice. Either way, Hind acquired. Oh, sit there rotating quite nicely. I'm not going to do what I've done in the past, because a few people were trying to figure out how I did that, so we're just going to pick this up. Go down here, click on this, and you can see the difference between the Hind and its new Kuva variants is a ton more crit chance, a ton more crit multiplier, quicker fire rate, bigger magazine, more status, same damage. On the semi-fire, everything is better. Full auto is something the standard one doesn't have. Full auto, 37, kind of the same as the burst fire, but semi is actually better crit damage, better status than both of them, and does more damage. So using this as a semi as it was before is probably going to be better than using it as a full auto. Going to completely ignore builds for this because, well, that's probably the only elemental mod I'm going to put in this. I'm going to throw some crit mods on. That being said, I did end up kind of going for the bladed rounds in there with a bit of the elemental combo to add corrosive to it, and yep, that Riven is in there, but it adds crit damage and multi-shot, also adds punch through. Tried it in one game. To be honest, it's a good Riven, but it wasn't mine. I just kind of borrowed it. I threw Orgon Scope where that actually sits. Though you can actually throw a heavy caliber in there that works just as well, but the crit multiplier for damage is only 4.6 over the 6.6 that Riven gave. But again, it wasn't my Riven. I just tried it out in one game and thought, well, Orgon Scope was better, but if you are using it in burst or semi-auto mode, Orgon Scope works wonders. In full auto, I found heavy caliber actually worked really well on this, because obviously heavy caliber plus 165% damage. It just has the minus 55% accuracy that makes semi-auto really hard to aim, and burst fire just shoots all over the place. It takes away the accuracy just enough that Orgon Scope just worked a little bit better, but the fact that it has burst fire with a 62.5% crit chance, the 4.6 times multiplier, more importantly, semi-auto, which has a 92.5% crit chance with point strike in there. Orgon Scope will of course add the 100 and something % on top of that, with a 6.4 times crit multiplier. I could not see a single fire mode on this that was actually bad. Full auto, of course, being the worst of the three, 52.5% crit chance with a 4.2 times crit multiplier. It was better on the status than the other ones. That's actually the same as the burst. It's the same status as the burst, but semi has less status. It's kind of one of those, it's trying too hard to be everything type guns. It's pretty good automatic firing, full auto rifle. It works really well because it has a high status chance and an okay crit chance. Semi-auto is really good because it has a really high crit chance with a possible really high crit multiplier. Remembering all of those stats I've read off before can go up again because I also have bladed rounds in this that will add 120% damage on kill while aiming for 9 seconds on top of that crit multiplier from before. The burst fire mode, honestly I wish there was a way when you have weapons that have all 3 fire modes like this to swap the firing order round. So you can go into a mission and full auto is its base fire mode. Then you can leave heavy caliber in, using the other fire modes for more accurate shooting at further range. Though it does have insanely good accuracy for the full auto side of this anyway. But it doesn't, so every time you go into a mission it will be locked to burst fire mode. Then you have to change it to semi-auto, or change it again to full auto. If you could set the firing order on this, it would have been almost perfect, because I would have just thrown auto to the top, burst as the bottom, because the burst fire mode, it's good, but the semi is better, and the full auto, I would have thrown heavy caliber on this and left it, but the fact that at the start of every mission you have to swap to full auto, heavy caliber is good and all, but it's no good for burst fire or semi-automatic fire. It just doesn't do it any help, taking minus 55% of the accuracy away from semi, which means you are never going to land that headshot, so Orgon Scope doesn't work. Of course, Orgon Scope isn't in if I have heavy caliber in, so it's a bit of a weird weapon, but it's a nice weapon. I was pretty amazed at how good this thing actually turned out to be with the 3 different firing modes. I found myself swapping between them quite a bit, which is something I don't tend to do with weapons like this. I just use them in whatever their primary fire mode tends to be. Sometimes I will use the alternate fire mode, but most of the time the Hind, I will just use this as a burst fire weapon because it's the primary fire mode, and it just becomes a pain in the butt to swap between fire modes all the time. But this is probably one of the first ones I found myself swapping through constantly and enjoying each different fire mode just as good as the last. The semi-automatic, as I mentioned before, none of these have insane damage numbers. The semi-auto, I think, was the only one I managed to get over 1,000 damage. But with the fact that it has, I think it's nearly 70% status, 92.5% crit chance, it's really good for landing those headshots, getting bladed rounds to kick in, and going, haha, Orgon Scope. Everybody goes down fairly quickly. But in all honesty, it was just weird seeing the fact that it gets nearly 100% crit chance from the semi-automatic fire mode of this, when the standard version with point striking gets 37.5, this gets 92.5. Huge difference. Obviously the Kuva based weapons are supposed to be better. This is the prime example of this. Not only does it have an extra fire mode, it just annihilates all. This weapon really did take me by surprise, to the point of I may continue to use this because it has all 3 different fire modes to it. It's just, I was amazed that it has such a big magazine as well, and a huge reserve of ammo. All in all though, I am thoroughly enjoying this thing, probably way more than I should. I'm going to take it off and put the Brahma back on, but as soon as I'm sick of killing myself with that, I will probably come back to using this, so probably in about an hour or 2, because you will constantly kill yourself with the Brahma. This, you won't kill yourself with, you'll kill all the enemies with it instead. But anyway, we'll leave this off here for now. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you next time.